Hey everyone, this is Greg Bem, one of the faculty librarians at SCC. Today we're taking a look at the free version of ChatGPT, and we will take a look at all of the basics of the user interface. This may take a few minutes to do because there's a lot going on in ChatGPT these days, and I want to make sure I highlight most of the user interface. So if it makes sense, please pause, come back later, take breaks, everything you need to do to engage with this video better. So when you go to chatgpt.com, the first thing you're going to notice is there is a pop-up that asks you to log in to ChatGPT. The benefits of logging in include saving your chat history, um, being able to access certain settings that can persist over time, and other typical functionality from logging into various services. If I click X, and I go into the ChatGPT interface and just say hello, it's still going to provide a response to my prompt, and I can use some of the basic functionality, the super basic functionality, but not nearly as much as I would with a free account if I was signed in. So what I'm going to do is click on sign in, the upper right corner icon here, and I'm going to log in with an account I already have. You may need to create an account with Google or Microsoft or Apple or even your phone number in order to log in. I already have one, so I'm just going to sign in with these credentials. I'll have to do my two-factor authentication, and it's that easy. Okay, so here's the overall interface of ChatGPT. As you can see in the middle, it's the same as we saw when we did our practice prompt. GenAI tools require prompts in order to produce or generate the output. And similar to a search engine, you will find the bar for prompting right here in the middle. We will get to that in a moment as we do a couple practice prompts and look at some of the additional functionality with the prompt bar. On the left-hand side, we will see ChatGPT, and there is multiple opportunities to upgrade to ChatGPT Plus, or even further, there are multiple paid versions of ChatGPT. And also, we can see that even with the free version, we have the ability to use this tool to generate a lot of different types of content. So let's just show you what the sidebar looks like here on the left. There is the ability to close and open the sidebar quite easily. We have the ability to create a new chat, which is the term that ChatGPT uses to describe all of the conversations or prompt responses that you can get. We can search our chats. So if we have many, and I do at this point, and we want to refer back to something that was created days, months, years ago, we have the ability to do that with the search feature. We also can click on library, and this is going to allow us to generate some additional media for this account. We have links to Sora. Sora is the image and video generating platform that is connected to ChatGPT. I will not be exploring that in this video, though I highly recommend taking a look at it if you're interested in image and video generation. And then GPTs, which are the list of customizations for ChatGPT that others have created. I'm not going to be exploring this in this video as well because it would take quite a long time. But if you are interested in seeing what other people are doing with ChatGPT and even perhaps utilizing some of those customizations and integrations, please consider exploring this page. And then as we see below GPTs, there's a long list of many different chats that I have generated and created across multiple months of using ChatGPT. And some of these are funny, some of these are professional, some of these are personal. In this case, I have a chat about trying to fry an egg on a sidewalk, just to use an example. Below that, below the list of the chats, we will have our name. If we click on that, another opportunity to upgrade. We can provide customization to ChatGPT. We won't be exploring that today, but there are several options or advanced features for customizing how ChatGPT works across the platform. Settings, help, and logging out. Let's go back to new chat to clear the screen. There's one thing that is set aside from the main prompt area, which is in the far upper right. It's easy to miss, and it is a text box that is dashed lines, and that is ChatGPT's icon for temporary chat. If you do a temporary chat, your chat will not be saved. The information will not be used by OpenAI to improve their technology, and it will not contribute to memory, which is the functionality of ChatGPT, where ChatGPT essentially learns from you in order to improve your personal system. So, engaging in temporary increases privacy. It also removes any kind of historic functionality from the chat. What's on the agenda today? ChatGPT asks. So let's take a look at the different options for the prompt bar itself before we do a practice prompt. First of all, you have the text entry here where you can quite literally type whatever you want and see what will return. You have the option of dictating or using your microphone to provide vocal instructions if you don't want to type. And this is very handy in the mobile app or the online version on your phone. Um, as we know, it's much easier sometimes to talk than to type. Also, it's an accessibility feature, in my opinion. And then we have this plus button. If I click on that for the free version, I have a lot of options. I can add photos and files. And so if I do that, ChatGPT will utilize that content in order to better inform its response. I have an option to study and learn. I have an option to create an image. I have an option to think longer, what we call reasoning models. It will take longer to generate a response, but the response may be more thorough. Deep research, which for the free version, you have very limited options, as this tooltip demonstrates. I only have 4 left, and that is until a month from now. So only a handful in the free account to be able to do deep research. And then if I hover over it more, I have a web search, I have Canvas, and I have the ability to connect cloud storage to the system in the case that I want to use ChatGPT to help me with significantly more of my files or point files to it. So I'm just going to click on each of these. If I add photos and files, it will ask me to upload something. If I click study and learn, I will be able to enter any prompt I want, but the idea is that it will provide some responses that can help me learn about these topics rather than any other potential functionality that ChatGPT may have. It has 3 provided ideas for how I could learn content. Can create an image, provide some examples here. I also have the ability to select specific styles for the image if I can't come up with description or style on my own. If I click on think longer, the bar does not change. But remember, this is if I'm looking for a more thorough answer. Deep research, get a detailed report. Again, thorough answer, probably even more detailed and potentially more robust sources if I use research. Web search, this will automatically find me information that is online currently. It provides some uh, specific examples, but anything I search for will include a web component. And then Canvas is for developing certain types of objects like computer code. Let's go back to let's X out of Canvas, and then we're back at the basic search here. And I'm going to simply ask, let's talk about the impact of climate and weather on the inland Northwest. So I enter that prompt, and the large language model processes it very quickly and leans into its data set to find information on this topic, in this case, climate and weather in the inland Northwest. And then it responds to me with a generated response. And that includes friendly language and structured subsections of the response. And so it is providing various aspects, including climate patterns, agriculture, forests and wildfires, and so on. When I get to the bottom, I have the ability to see the summary, and then it asks usually a follow-up question as to what I am looking to do, what I want to do with this information. So this is iterative, and I have the option of continuing this chat with ChatGPT. I also can copy this text. I can provide some basic user feedback to the developers. I have the option of it reading it aloud. I can edit this document, I can share it, and I can try again. Now, this is a good moment to describe the large language model. When you're using the free version, it's not going to tell you which model is being used, but when I hover over the refresh or try again icon, it says that it used GPT-5. GPT-5 came out only a little while ago from the timing of this video, and it is the default even for the free version. Even though it is the newest version, it's still the default. There are emerging um, announcements regarding accessing older models, and paid users, the users that have the Plus account, do have access currently to the last model that is considered by many to be superior to GPT-5, actually, called 4.0. Let's go ahead and say a response to the final question. Do you want me to focus next on historic changes or current day vulnerabilities? Let's talk history. And now it's providing information about prehistoric contexts, indigenous era, 19th century, early 20th, and so on and so forth. So I really have the ability here to dive in as much as I want, and I could even ask it to focus on some of this information, explore it more in depth, use a different style of writing or language, and so on and so forth. There's a lot that can be done here. Um, the whole time in this chat, I can still activate any of these functions. These persist for the next iteration of this chat, just like they exist for the first iteration. The upper right of the user interface, I have the ability to share, and I can create a link that I can then share to anyone that I want to share it with. I can archive, I can report, and delete this chat using the upper right menu. Note that at the very bottom, OpenAI has provided a short and very tiny message saying that ChatGPT can make mistakes, check important info. They've gone back and forth with how much or little they want to share regarding information literacy and critical thinking skills. Right now, they're on the minimal side, but I will say that with all of this information, you're going to want to double check. Note as well, with the default, they did not provide any links. I would have to activate the web search in order to get the links by default. In this case, we just have information that's coming from a gazillion links in the data set. So one more thing, I can ask GPT about anything that I highlight, which is super useful. That can include terminology and vocabulary. So in this case, I have asked GPT. Uh, However, I want to point out that this menu here is actually a extension for Firefox and has nothing to do with ChatGPT. I click on Ask ChatGPT, define this term, and then it provides a very short definition on geologic scale shifts. That sums it up for this intro video. That is the basics of how the user interface works. If you have any questions about ChatGPT, the free version, or otherwise, please reach out to the library. We're always happy to help navigate these new systems. And please note that these are constantly changing. Tomorrow or in a year from now, this video may indeed be out of date. That is one of the joys of these systems is constantly learning how they are evolving. And also one of the incredible challenges is staying up to speed with how they are developing. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.